Yo guys, today I'm going to teach you how to master Mexico on F1 2025. So immediately out of the final corner, if you want to be starting a qualifying lap, keep it as wide as possible to open up the distance before the start finish line. This will help you gain momentum onto this long straight and will gain you a few thousandths in the process. Here we go, we've got a DLS line, which is actually really difficult to see on this year's iteration of the Formula 1 game. As you can see, it's a very faint white line here, but you can also use the indicator on the halo for when it's coming up with the meters. As you can see right now, we have 4 meters until the DLS line is activated, so you can just keep an eye on that. Of course, after we do this low speed lap analysis, we'll do how to adjust the time trial world record setup to be usable in online race, and finishing off the video with a full speed qualifying lap example, including my ERS strategy on how I maximize the lap time that I can do. So into turn 1 braking, we're going to be braking at the 100 meter board, and you have a choice here. You can either go down into 4th or 3rd gear. I personally like to optimally take this in 4th, and I only really go down to 3rd gear if I think I'm running too much speed into the corner, and I pull down to 3rd to get that extra rotation. The reason that 3rd can help with the rotation, but is also a negative and you want to avoid it, as it can make the rear quite unstable, whereas 4th keeps the rear stability better, can help you with the traction for the next sequence of corners. Over this inside curbing, you want to be as aggressive as possible, right up to the limits of the white line, and just cutting the track as much as you physically can without getting invalidation is the goal here. You can see we're right up against the grass, and that's the optimal way to go about it. On the exit of the corner, then we just use as much road as possible, open DLS, and then we point the car in a straight line. You can see we go to the middle of the track here because this just is the shortest distance as you go down this sector to open up sector 2, of course ending sector 1. 100 meter board is going to be your braking marker going down into this corner as well, and 3rd gear will be your selection of choice. You can nibble this inside curbing here. It is ideal to, in my opinion, just to get 2 wheels just on top of it, as it helps open up the track usage and doesn't compromise your traction on the exit, as there is basically no need to have good traction apart from setting up the following corner on the track. You have a choice here. You can go down to 2nd gear if you want the car to be a bit more rotatey, a bit more floaty, whereas if you want the car to be more stable and look after the rear tire temperatures, then you'll stay in 3rd gear. I prefer it in 3rd, in my opinion anyway, and then managing the traction on the exit of the corner to try and avoid any wheel slip. It's really important on a qualifying lap here not to overheat the rear tires, otherwise you'll lose out a lot of lap time potential in the final sector. If you are on a racing wheel, then you want to do a wheel flick into this corner. If you're on a gamepad, unfortunately you can't, so sorry about that. But on the reason to have the wheel flick, as it means it saturates the front tires, and on a corner that's very easy to lose traction on the exit, the wheel flick naturally generates the saturation of the front tires, and because the front tires are saturated, it means it's a bit easier to look after rear tire temperature, not overheat them in the middle of the corner, and then you can use that better tire temperature for better traction, because you have better grip on the exit. Running into the high-speed sequence of corners here in Mexico City, you'll be approaching in 6th and then go down into 5th. If you want to be brave, you want to be cut the grass as much as you possibly can without taking invalidation. If you want to be safe, just drive around the grass and put 2 wheels on the inside curbing. But like I say, if you want the ultimate lap time potential, 2 wheels on the grass, even if it can make the car a little bit unstable. This right-hander isn't really a corner, to be honest. You're just using it to set up the following left, and you're just having your floor drive over the center part of the curbing, flat through the right, flat through the left, and now you'll be flat through the right and left again to finish off this sequence, just minimizing the distance as possible, jumping over the curbs. Trying to invalidate your lap would be not the good way to go about it, so do avoid that if you can do so, but of course just minimize the distance around those corners. Opening up sector 3 here in Mexico City, you'll be braking just after the 100 meter board, about 90 meters before the corner, and it's very easy to lock up the front right tire here going into the apex. The reason for that is, as you can see, the track is starting to fall away from you and it's starting to go down as you get towards the apex curbstone, and of course when you're traveling downhill you have less grip, and the front right tire is unloaded anyway due to the weight transfer, pushing the car weight to the left tire and not the right tire. So just keep that in mind. Very easy to lock the front right tyre, and if you do lock up the tyre, what you kind of want to do is just throw the car over the curbing like this, because you're going to get understeer anyway. But by throwing the car over the inside curbing, then you're allowing yourself to have more road to use on the exit, meaning that you have a better window to recover from your mistake. If you do get the corner completely perfect without locking up on the entry, then you just want to nibble the inside curbing again, just like this, and then you'll be in a good racing line to maximize the exit speed potential as well. You want to bring the car as quickly over to the right hand side as possible, and then going down the gears. You can choose between second or third gear here, but I like to take it in third gear just to keep the rear of the car more stable, and the tires can really begin to overheat on this corner if you're not careful. So this is why I like third gear. Keep the car more stable and keep better traction from the exit. Ideally, you reach two wheels on this inside curbing, so then you can straight line the exit as much as possible and jump over this inside curbstone, all the way up to the point that you destroy the little bollard thing, because then it's gone to the rest of the qualifying session and or race. So yeah, just maximize your track usage from there. Jump over the inside bollard and jump over the inside curbing, I should say, into the final apex of the lap. You can keep the car solidly in third gear here, but I like to momentarily shift up to fourth in a qualifying lap and then go back down to third. The reason I like to do that is a downshift will slightly unsettle the car and bring better rotation into it by sliding out the rear a little bit. So dropping it down into third can help rotate the car on the entry on a corner that's very easy to understeer. You can take a lot of inside curbstone here, that's key to remember. So you can take a lot of inside curbstone, and then on the exit here, just run the car right up to the outside curbstone and or the white line in the third gear, and then maximize your exit speed potential. Of course, if you're on a race right now, you'll open up the car to the left-hand side of the track, but if you're on a qualifying lap, you want to keep the car as tight as possible, running up to the start-finish line here, and then that'll minimize your distance and maximize your lap time potential here around Mexico City. So with that being said, let's take a peep at the time trial world record setup and advise what I would change to make it a bit more usable in an online race. So the wings are very high already as well. Looking through the rest of the setup, it looks okay, to be honest. But immediately going for an online race around Mexico, I made a mistake recently. I tried to run quite low on the rear tire pressure during a race, and it was a disaster. So yeah, in qualifying, you can run quite low on the rear tire pressure, but the tire temperature is so sensitive around this track, and they overheat so easily. I think, just to be honest, running higher on the rear tire pressure gives you a better operating window for the tire. Although it gives you less grip, having higher PSI, it does look after the tire temperature a bit better. Well, not a bit better, a lot better. Will make your life easier during the stint as well. Braking bias in a qualifying lap between 54, 53 will be optimal. Race, you want to go maybe up to 55 as well. This looks fairly balanced, to be honest. It looks fairly decent, but then going over to the wing levels, this will be so high in the race. Really, I would say going down already to maybe like 20, 16 on this wing level balance would be better for the race. Maybe +4 for qualifying. But yeah, that would be my advice anyway. You can go even lower on the wing, probably advisable to do so. But yeah, that's something just to keep into mind. And with that being said, let's head over to the full speed qualifying lap example. How to master Mexico on F1 2025. Out of the final corner, start using the overtake button once you engage 6th gear and burn the battery all the way down until 50% here on the pit straight. Braking at the 100-meter board down into 4th gear, prioritize the exit of the corner to open up the following left and following right with the overtake button and ERS enabled on the exit. Holding down the overtake button all the way until you reach your braking point of the 100-meter board for the following left-hander. Clunk over the inside curbing to open up the track and keep it in 3rd gear through this section to minimize rear sliding. Do a wheel flick through here to minimize any oversteer the car might have, and into the high-speed sequence of corners. Cut as much of the grass on the inside as possible. Tap the overtake button and now hold down the overtake button as you go flat through the right and through the left. DLS enabled enabled, ending sector 2 all the way down until your braking point is the overtake button enabled into the final sector. Really critical to not overslide the rear axle here. Massive wheel flick into the hairpin, clunk over the inside curbing, final apex of the lap, clunk over the inside curbing here, maximize your traction potential, and this is a lap here in Mexico City. So we've done a 113.694 with the sector times of a 27.5, a 27.3, and an 18.8 to round off the lap. So this is how to master Miami on F1 2025. My name's been Brendon Leigh, and hopefully this video has been informative, helpful, and enjoyable for you to watch. Until the next video, grazie ragazzi, ciao ciao, bye bye.